a lot. By respecting the elders, we are obeying Jehovah.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, Alicia, we've talked about this before. As we get closer to the end, it is going to be all the more vital that we do respect such servants of Jehovah.
It could mean our lives.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, many times in Bible history, Jehovah provided life-saving instructions through humans. He delegated authority, and messengers spoke in his name, and they told his people what they needed to do. Can we not imagine that Jehovah might do something similar at Armageddon?
Wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah. And you know how much more important then that we do truly respect these servants, because again, by doing so,
We show we obey Jehovah.
exactly, you finished my sentence, exactly. So then we look at even those that there's accounts in the Bible of those that hadn't even been worshiping Jehovah yet, but because they respected and listened to servants of Jehovah and what they told them to do, they actually benefited.
And which Bible account is this from?
Well, I'm thinking of one in particular with Elisha, and you may be familiar with this one of Jehovah's prophets, so one of his messengers, and the account of Naaman, who was a leper. And he was a Syrian, so he was a non-worshiper of Jehovah, but his wife's Israelite slave girl told her of a prophet in Samaria, who was Elisha, that he could cure leprosy. So immediately Naaman set out for Samaria.
That's one of Noah's favorite videos on jw.org.
Yes, I love that video. And as you remember then, Naaman was cured. But what's interesting is that he first needed to respect what Elisha told him to do in order to be cured. Let's look at that account in 2 Kings, and that's chapter 5, 2 Kings 5. We're just going to scan at those verses 10 through 12. So here, Elisha told a messenger to tell Naaman what to do. He said to go wash 7 times in the Jordan and your flesh will be restored. Naaman was indignant that he would have to go into the waters of Israel. And so he was about to leave. Let's pick up in verses 13 and 14 to see what then happened. Would you want to read those?
Sure. It reads, His servants now approached him and said, My father, if the prophet had told you to do something extraordinary, would you not do it? How much more then, since he only said to you, Wash and be clean? At that he went down and plunged into the Jordan 7 times, according to the word of the man of the true God. Then his flesh was restored like the flesh of a little boy, and he became clean. I didn't realize at first that he didn't want to go into the water,
Right.
but his servants reasoned with him, and finally he obeyed and respected what Elisha told him to do.
Yeah, exactly. And so the verses then go on to explain that Naaman was filled with gratitude and humble appreciation, vowing from then on that he would worship no other God but Jehovah. So he really did appreciate who this man Elisha was and who he represented. But now there's another example where it shows how Jehovah tolerated no disrespect for his official servants. And it's the account with young ones that were mocking Elisha as the prophet of Jehovah, and there was dire consequences. Now that's in the same Bible book, 2 Kings. Let's go to chapter 2 and verses 23 and 24. And let me read to you what happened. So Elisha, he went up from there to Bethel, and as he was going along the way, some young boys came out from the city and began to jeer or mock at him. And they kept saying, Go up, you bald head! Go up, you bald head! Finally, he turned around and looked at them and cursed them in the name of Jehovah. Then 2 she-bears came out of the forest and tore 42 of the children to pieces.
I remember reading this account for the first time. It's very dramatic, and some may find it harsh.
Yeah, absolutely. And this jeering or mocking that they were doing apparently was because Elisha was wearing Elijah's familiar official garment. The children did not want him to be the successor. Where would they get this attitude? Well, apparently they were reflecting the hostile attitude of their parents. So Jehovah dealt decisively because of their blatant, the parents as well as the children's lack of respect for the channel of communication that he was using on earth at the time. And so it kind of brings us full circle now back to what you were stating about in the congregation and the elder arrangement, because they provide encouragement and counsel, but it's based on scriptures themselves or scriptural principles. And it helps us to make good decisions and to promote order and peace in the congregation. And though we're all imperfect, Jehovah has continued to use imperfect men to lead his people. In fact, he always has. So instead of looking at imperfections and wanting to complain or murmur or find reasons to ignore their authority, Jehovah expects us to respect such brothers and to obey them. And we see that just with these couple of accounts with Elisha.
And I'm so glad to further understand this arrangement and what a protection it really is in having such respect for servants of Jehovah today.
Absolutely.